What's up, you guys? Welcome to another episode of Real Debates. I am so glad we are continuing the show. The response from the first episode was actually surprising for me. I didn't think that, and I know it's only like 70 some odd views, but a lot of people were hitting me up on social media saying that they love the show. So nice. I'm really glad that you guys love the show. We have Ian and Jeremy facing off today. They have their own versions of Jim Carrey going at each other. It's going to be The Mask versus Hank from which movie, Ian?
Me, Myself, and Irene.
Me, Myself, and Irene, which are...
And I remember that name, absolutely.
Which are iconic movies. I love these. I love those movies, and I will be moderating today. But before we get into the match, I want to ask my competitors how they're doing. So, Ian, with the cigarette in his hand, how are you doing today? I'm kidding, guys.
I smoke crack over here. What are you talking about?
This cig of weed.
Well, looking like a cigarette.
You better have glaucoma.
I do.
I'm doing fine. All things considered, man. You know, it's just every day you wake up, you're just like, what's gonna happen now? So I'm just living my life on standby. I got my passport ready. I got my money in check. Like, do we have to go? What's going on? But you know, I'm just on standby. That's my vibe.
You know, I agree with that. You know, me and my homies, we trying to build Wakanda just in case. Yep. You know, something gets crazy. So we on standby over here as well. But Jeremy, how are you doing today, man?
Smoking. I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm glad to be here. Oh, boy. Can we retake that? Can we just roll it back? No, I'm doing good. I agree with everything that Ian said just now. It's crazy town. It looks like we are about to dodge a Category 5 hurricane, which is great news for us.
Yeah.
It's going to suck for somebody, man. And my heart goes out to everybody on the Gulf Coast. Stay safe, stay well out there. Make sure you do your prepping ahead of time, because I think all of us speak from experience when we say it's real difficult to get gas as you're trying to get out of town. So if you need to start prepping, start doing it now. And actually, this isn't going to be out for a couple days. I hope that everybody took care of themselves and ended up all right.
For sure. As a hurricane survivor, I definitely co-sign for what he says, man. Please be prepared. Do not take this Florida, we definitely take things as lightly as possible when it comes to hurricanes, but it could be the worst case scenario. Always be ready for that.
Yep.
Yeah. And I agree with that. Man, I hope everyone is safe. It's funny because I texted Jeremy last night when the hurricane was coming, because I saw some stuff about it, and I was just like, I hope everyone's okay, and I wouldn't want that on anyone. So if you guys are in the Gulf Coast area, please be safe. If you got to flee the shelter, do that. But that's a trying thing that I wouldn't wish on anyone. But for the sake of this match, we have 4 rounds, and in those 4 rounds, we have our introduction round, which each individual person will have 2 minutes per round to give me their introduction of the movie. The next round 2, will be if they letting me know why their movie is good, what makes it a good movie. The third round is the battle round. We're going to see which movie is better than the other. And also, in this case, character better than the other character. But in our final round, it's going to be the conclusion round, where they give us our final thoughts, where they can address anything. They can go at each other. But each round, they have 2 minutes. Now, guys, this is not a presidential debate, so you will be interrupted, okay? I said 2 minutes, mother suckers, okay? That's where we're going with this. So, for between the numbers of 1 and 10, Ian, pick a number.
9.
Okay, Jeremy, you pick a number.
I got to go 5, bro.
Ian was the closest. The number was 10.
No, get out. All right.
No joke. It was 10. So, Ian, would you like to go first, or would you like to go second?
I'll go second, man. I'm a gentleman.
Ooh.
Okay, so we are going.
He doesn't look ready. Oh.
Okay. See, the trash talk is already starting right now. So we're about to hit into round 1. Jeremy will be going first. Let me get my timer ready before I forget. Jeremy, you have 2 minutes to let us know why your character, why did you pick your character and the introduction of why you believe it's not the better character, but why you chose this character. Your 2 minutes starts now.
You know, there is a thing about the movie The Mask, and that is that the movie itself actually complements the character so well. These two things are very, very linked together, and I suppose the same can be said about Me, Myself, and Irene. Now, if the question was which of these movies is funnier, hands down, Me, Myself, and Irene is hilarious. It is such a funny movie. That said, Jim Carrey is a physical comic. He is very animated, very big in his performances. Basically, he is a live action cartoon character, and The Mask is a perfect platform for that. In the movie, Jim Carrey is kind of a everyman as Stanley Ipkiss. He's down on his luck. He's a little repressed. He can't catch a break, all these kind of things. And then he's also got the dual role of the mask. Similar to Me, Myself, and Irene, actually. It's almost like the id versus the super ego, right? The super ego is Stanley. He's this person who is like very confined to his own like experiences, very shut in, very cut off from his actual emotional center. And then the mask himself is the id. It's all of those repressed feelings acting out in an external way. And I think that that's really a fun concept to play with. And it's the first time that Jim Carrey actually did a role similar to that, where he's playing two different versions of himself. The effects in this movie are fantastic, whether we're talking about the prosthetics on Jim Carrey's face that just really accentuate all of those features that makes him go big, or whether we're talking about the little stopwatches bouncing around and him pulling out a big mallet and smashing it like a live action cartoon. This was 1994 when it was released, and it was kind of pioneering the age of CGI. And so it was a technical achievement. It's also a movie that plays to a huge variety of different audiences, from 5-year-olds to 30-year-olds.
That's your 2 minutes.
All right.
That's your 2 minutes. All right. Stop. Thank you. Thank you, iPhone. All right. Well, that's your 2 minutes. I will have to say before I pass it to Ian, those were some definitely good points. Some points that you made that I actually forgot about in The Mask, and how you separated the two, where, you know, the mask is like the id versus him without the mask. It's really like, you know, just himself, but the mask is a representation of everything he wants to be in a sense. So I actually really like that, because it's been a minute since I've seen that movie. But now, Ian, you have the same 2 minutes to state your case of why you believe that your character is the character you chose, and your 2 minutes starts now.
So I don't know if this point's going to help me. I'm going to give a very mutual answer, but I think you did make a good point saying that Me, Myself, and Irene is kind of like a mature version of The Mask, where it's like a different different personality of the original character. So, I mean, that's not a point to you, not a point to me. I feel like that's a mutual answer right there. So it's great that you made me think about that. But more on that later. This is more of a mature movie, as I was saying with that. I do like the fact that this movie is hilarious, hands down. It's one of the funniest slept on Jim Carrey movies. Seriously, it's very repeatable. I repeat a lot of the lines all the time, man. And I like the fact that it's a very funny but deep mental health movie. And mental health has been it's been kind of a trending topic. I'm not a fan of that being a trending topic, but it's cool. It's been getting a lot of awareness lately as somebody that goes through that in my personal life. But it's something that you can laugh about, but can relate to the mental health struggles of this character. Of life has been beating him down, and he just transformed into a different person to help cope with the situations in his life. But I liked it. It felt like Jim Carrey, as much as he was being Jim Carrey in this movie, he did stretch out a little bit more of his acting chops. And a lot of people don't know this. Jim Carrey is a phenomenal actor. You know, he's a funny actor, but like he can act. You know, other movies like the Number 23 and Simon Birch and all that stuff. But like this movie right there, I feel like he switched it up a lot. He gave us equally funny stuff. And at the same time, we got this dramatic, relatable Jim Carrey. And this is what I love about this movie. And the jokes were so fucking funny. And yeah, I feel like The Mask to an extent is just, it expires. It's for kids. I'm not saying it's a bad movie, but this is, if you're ready to see a movie that's, you know, you're up to your speed, adults that are watching, watch Me, Myself, and Irene. Seriously.
All right. That is your 2 minutes there. Great points of how you said about the mental health, about how it can be relatable, and it's also something that you can essentially like laugh at yourself in that moment. It's like, so those are some great points. I will hold my reservations to the end of the to the end of the match. I will say though, if I had to guess, you guys are like literally right there. Like I can't right now, I can't really make a decision, but both you guys had strong arguments. Now, Jeremy went first in the first round. It is now Ian's turn to go first in the second round. And in the second round, as stated before, they have 2 minutes to state their case. But in this round, they will tell me why this character is better. Like, why is it better? They don't necessarily have to go into why it's better than the other, but why it's better as a character. So, Ian, your 2 minutes starts now.
Listen, if I want to see Jim Carrey be Jim Carrey, I'll just watch like In Living Color. Like a lot of the characters that he was portraying in The Mask was just seemed like regurgitation of his silly, like off the wall cartoonish acts in The Mask. Great performances. Like I don't know anyone else that can do what Jim Carrey does. He's definitely on a different level. He's the cocaine of comedy, I'd say. But like I said though, his performances is nothing really new. He does impressions. He does all this zany jumping off the wall stuff all the time in other movies. In this movie, my movie, Me, Myself, and Irene, it was more jokes. It was more like a centered ground character that, like I said, had relatable situations. He had a situation where his wife cheated on him and he was stuck with children. I mean, I see that junk all the time. I mean, this is an over-the-type nice guy that keeps getting shitted on and shitted on and shitted on. We know these people. We might be these people in situations. So that's why I think this movie is a little bit better. You know, this is kind of like the Disney Marvel conversation versus like the DC situation.
Agreed.
We personally like our Marvel movies, but like this is literally like light versus dark, and this is more of a gritty Jim Carrey. You know, if we want to see Jim Carrey going crazy, we can literally watch all his other movies. We can see Dumb and Dumber. We could see what's another one, Ace Ventura. Like this is all, and even his performance in Batman when he was the fucking Riddler. It's basically the same stuff. You know, if you want to see Jim Carrey at his best, come on. If you want to see a range of things he could do, Me, Myself, and Irene is where it's at. And that's my point about that too. Like, and it's a very slept on movie.
Wow, with 10 seconds to spare. Wow, those were some really good points, Jeremy. I'm not going to lie. In that round, the one shot that I noticed off the cuff was where he said that if you want to watch Jim Carrey essentially playing the same character, watch his performance in Living Color. And as someone who grew up with no cable, that is something I watched all the time. So Jeremy,
it was Fire Marshal Bill with the green mask.
Your time's over.
Sorry.
But like he said, the match is not over. You now have your 2 minutes to state why your movie is better. Now, keep in mind, you don't have to attack him until the next round, but if you choose to, you can. Now, your 2 minutes starts now.
Bro, why would I attack Ian in this round? He nailed it. He did. He made some very good points. He said, Me, Myself, and Irene is basically the BVS of comedy. So good job there, Ian. You really nailed that. Jim Carrey is a cartoon. You know what I mean? And I think you're mistaking mature with crude. I don't think that just because a movie it's got the dude sucking on some mom's titty in a park doesn't make it mature. It just makes it crude. And I think The Mask plays to all generations. As I said, it does play to kids. I don't think there's an expiration date on it because parents really liked it at the time that it came out. It does still have its subversive elements. There's still violence and there's still sex and mature themes in it, but it never goes for the easy shot. And when you talk about, like mental health and context of Me, Myself, and Irene, Renee Zellweger literally yells, "He's a schizo" in the movie. So like, it's a little dated, and I'm not going to say the same's not true about The Mask. It 100% is. Both of these movies are a product of their time. In a lot of ways, Jim Carrey is a product of that time. He's an early 90s comic. A lot of his sensibilities didn't quite cross over, and that's why he did have to reinvent himself. But as far as his character in The Mask, dude, when you talk about iconic lines that you quote, I mean, are we talking about the Cuban Pete song? Are we talking about it's party time, PARTY, because I gotta smoking, somebody stop me. I mean, there are so many iconic, quotable, memeable lines in this movie. Like everybody quotes it. When we're talking about Me, Myself, and Irene, bro, I put this in my notes. I didn't know the dude's name. I had to go on IMDb and look to be like, oh, Hank/Charlie. Does the dude even have a last name? Who knows? When you say The Mask, you know, Stanley Ipkiss. This is an iconic character from an iconic movie based on an iconic comic book series of the same name.
That's your 2 minutes. That's your 2 minutes. Wow. Like, oh, what an amazing round. Jeremy came out the gate swinging. Oh, that BVS reference was hilarious. You brought up a lot of good points, especially about how memorable The Mask is in modern day time, because even my nieces and nephews quote The Mask. That movie came out before I was born. So yeah, like it's that was a really good round. Both of you guys did a really good job in that round. Again, reservations will be saved towards the end of the match. But now we're going to get into my favorite round of the match, which is the battle round of this match, which each competitor will say why their character is better than the other character. We kind of got some of that in the last round, but this round it's like no gloves on. They can say whatever they want within the 2 minute span that they have. So last time we went to Ian.
Oh, look out.
Oh, snap, it just got real. Last time we went to Ian. Now we're going to go to Jeremy. Jeremy, your 2 minutes for this round starts now.
You know, The Mask is a movie. There's a lot of that like cool Art Deco 1920s era jazz stuff going on. Mm-hmm. Cameron Diaz is a baddie, dude. She came out of nowhere in this movie. My movie's got Cameron Diaz doing like a Jessica Rabbit style introduction to the character where she's like being real seductive on the stage. And then The Mask kind of goes all like the wolf from the old animated cartoons, the Looney Tunes. And that's a really cool scene. His heart's like bumping out of his chest. Me, Myself, and Irene has Renee Zellweger. So that, I mean, she's in it. Also, like, I just really, as I mentioned a minute ago, the fact of the matter is Jim Carrey gets to flex. He gets to do a lot of the things that made him such an iconic character in the first place. In the addition to that, he does do choreographed dance moves. He gets to sing in it. He gets to kind of stretch as an actor. And I do hear what you're saying about the fact that Jim Carrey is always kind of playing similar characters in comedies. I would go so far as to say that goes through his entire career. I mean, when you think about iconic Jim Carrey roles, Me, Myself, and Irene is probably like 7th on the list behind Harry and Lloyd from Dumb and Dumber, behind Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, behind, I mean, it just goes on and on. What's his name? Andy Kaufman from Man on the Moon, Truman Show. Like, I could name so many more iconic and more influential Jim Carrey ones. I understand that you like Me, Myself, and Irene a lot. I agree with you. I think the fact that he's got the 3 adopted sons is hilarious. And as they grow up, and Anthony Anderson's like super young in it, but there is just something for everybody in The Mask. It's not just for 20-year-old boys. It plays.
Look, Ma, I'm roadkill.
To everybody, and I think that there's something to be said about that. Like you said, we're talking Marvel versus DC. Look at the box office.
That was a good point. Nice touch on that at the end. That was a good point. A really good round. Jeremy came out the gate swinging in this round, and it's now your turn to respond to everything that Jeremy has said in the last few rounds. So this is your opportunity, my friend, and your 2 minutes starts now.
Well, I want to remind you guys, Batman vs. Superman did great in the box office, and it was a very quotable movie. Did it make it a good movie? That's for people to decide. Didn't make it a good movie for me. The Mask. One thing I'm gonna say about The Mask, it is a very quotable movie. I can quote that movie all day. Does that make it a better movie though? You can quote movies all the time. Doesn't make the movie great. It just means it's like great in that time period that we were living. Let me talk about the Mask failures after that. It tried to Mask 2. Remember the Mask 2?
Anybody talking about that?
Yeah, we are talking about that. We're talking about that dumbass show it had too. So everything connected to the Mask was just a failure because the Mask was so good, but they just kept trying to regurgitate this assembly line of the Mask, and it's just like let it die, you know. But me, myself, Irene took one take to be great. Very good movie. Didn't need all this crazy merchandise. Didn't need sequels. It didn't need like children's television show. It was just a great movie on its own. You mentioned Cameron Diaz was great in that movie. She was at her best. It was a great, first time seeing her. What is Cameron Diaz doing now? Not a damn thing. I don't give a shit about Cameron Diaz. He's an old mom now. Renee Zellweger and like you said, Anthony Anderson is at the top of his game right now. This movie just started off great careers and they're still going. They're still going. And as a black man, Anthony Anderson doing great in life just makes me happy.
What's the matter, honey? Little extra cheese on the taco?
Just makes me really happy. Like I said though, I think that The Mask is great. The Mask is a great movie for our generation. It's nostalgic, but at the same time, it doesn't hold up. It's a stupid movie. Now, me, myself, and Irene, I will guarantee you, ask anybody, holds up. As adults, it will always hold up.
Not once, but twice it burned you.
It does have dated parts, like you said, but The Mask is way more dated. The Mask needs to be left in the 90s. There's nothing 2020 about The Mask. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. It's a dated movie.
Okay, that's your 2 minutes. Oh man, what an amazing third round. Ian is going to lose 5 points for that black man reference.
Why?
I'm joking. But all jokes aside, you guys did an amazing third round. Damn, it's really hard to decide. But we're going to jump into our fourth round. What an amazing round from our competitors. As I was telling my competitors, I don't know which way to go with this because they are literally coming out the gate like not holding anything back. But this round is the conclusion round where both competitors have to now make their case on whatever their conclusion is to their character. Now in this round they have 2 minutes like before, but they can say whatever they want. They can wrap this up, they can continue attacking, they can do whatever they want, but they only have 2 minutes to do it. Now last time I believe in the battle round we started with Ian. So no, we started with Jeremy. We started with Jeremy. So in the conclusion round we're going to start with Ian. So Ian, in this round, like I stated before, you can do and say whatever you want for the 2 minutes that you have, and your 2 minutes starts now.
All right, I'll just repeat some of the points and then throw something else in there. Some of the points I said was like, look, The Mask is a good nostalgic movie for its time. I feel like it's very quotable, probably one of the most quotable Jim Carrey movies ever. But at the same time, it doesn't make it a better movie. It doesn't make it, we're talking quality versus quantity, man. Seriously. And me, myself, and Irene gives it to you, baby. Some of the funniest parts in this movie, I think, outshine me, myself, and Irene. Like this pasty-ass man that keeps following Jim Carrey in the movie. His name is Whitey or Milky. He gives him all these nicknames. That is hilarious. What is more funny than that in The Mask? Really nothing. Jim Carrey is stuck with 3 enormous, huge black men for children, stuck to raise them, knowing damn well he's not the father. What is funnier than that in The Mask? Not a damn thing. This man, as soon as he, has his mental breakdown and he becomes what he is, his other part, this man shits on his neighbor's fucking ground because his neighbor's dog keeps fucking shitting on his ground. What's funnier than that in The Mask? Somebody stop me. Hey, it's smoking. No, it's not funny. It's not funnier than these actual acted out scenes and these scenarios that we think about all the time we want to do that fucking Frank does in this movie. If we had the balls to do some of the stuff that Frank did, it would be amazing. So that's my thing. This is a cartoon that's great, but this is scenario comedy that we can all relate to and want to do all the time, man. He's got schizophrenia, and sometimes we're like, oh, yes, this man's spitting when he does the stupid shit in this movie. So that's my point. Like, yes, you can quote the great stuff, but this movie has better scenes. stuff that you could like laugh your ass off as soon as you see him. That's it.
Wow, with 5 seconds to spare, that was dope. Really well fought. Oh man, you brought up some really good points, especially Jim Carrey raising 3 black kids. That was I forgot about that in that whole movie.
Now, to a point, as a black man, that's got to make you laugh. Having this white man raise these black kids.
Okay, I am not adding any additional weight to that statement right there, but he is right. That is funny to watch, but I will not add that in consideration of everything that he has said. But Jeremy, Ian brought up some really good points. What is your response, or what's just your bare conclusion to why you believe that The Mask is a better character than his character? Your 2 minutes starts now.
Well, I'm glad you asked that again, Alex, to elaborate what the question was. The Mask doesn't have to be a better movie. It doesn't have to have better scenes. It just has to have a better character, because ultimately, at the end of the day, we're talking about who the better character is. Stanley Ipkiss or some dude named Frank, who Ian kept talking about last round. His name is Hank, dude. His name is Hank. Get your character's name right.
Wrong answer. And the name's Hank, fuckface.
The thing is, I agree with a lot of what Ian is saying. I 100% do. He is not wrong about it being a funnier movie. I just think when it comes to iconic characters, you got to give it up to The Mask and Stanley Ipkiss. Ian is also right. All that other Mask stuff was whack. But we're not talking about that. I'm talking about Jim Carrey as Stanley Ipkiss, as The Mask. I feel like it's the perfect marriage of performer and performance. If you said, create the perfect role for Jim Carrey, it would be the dude with the green face and all those things that Ian said that are kind of corny. I don't disagree with that. I just feel like that is the natural progression of Jim Carrey's career, starting out as Fire Marshal Bill, and then literally a lot of the facial expressions, the mannerisms, all of those things from The Mask did start there, and they evolved. And, you know, they did eventually get to the Me, Myself, and Irene. But that movie, again, it's so low on the totem pole as far as iconic, as far as major roles, that when people say, oh, Jim Carrey was great in Liar, Liar, Jim Carrey was great in, you know, so many other movies, before they say Me, Myself, and Irene, I appreciate the deep cut. I'm a big fan of that movie. It's one of my favorite choices that Ian could have gone with. But the fact of the matter is, dude, The Mask performance just trumps it on a iconic level. Culturally, everybody knows that character, everybody knows that name, and that's why The Mask is the best Jim Carrey character.
Awesome. Powerful 4th round. And you guys fought.
Wow.
You guys
give him a fucking point for that. That was hilarious. I fucked the name up. Holy shit.
Yeah,
I still stand by all my points, but man, he hit me with that. I can't argue.
But by the way, let's go to the tape and watch Ian fuck up this name.
Fucking Frank does in this movie. If we had the balls to do some of the stuff that Frank did, it would be amazing.
Okay, now that you guys have seen that, now
hilarious.
listen, this was an amazing match. I have to say, before I get into the deliberations of this match, great job from my competitors.
It was fun, for sure.
Because they brought up so many things about these movies. I have not seen, the last time I seen The Mask was probably like 5 years ago. I believe I saw Me, Myself, and Irene maybe before I started dating my wife. And great films. But when they started hitting on those things, it just started bringing it back. I was like, wow. So great rounds for my competitors. This was an exciting match. Almost more than exciting than the last match that we had last week. But now let's get into the deliberations of this match. Now, the first round, both competitors had strong introductions. Very strong introductions. I have to say, though, even though I said earlier it's kind of neck and neck, as I was going through my digital notes, I saw that Ian made a very good point when he first came out and said, if you watch in living color, The Mask is a very huge representation of that particular character that Jim Carrey portrayed in Living Color and amongst a lot of other stuff. For that, and also his explanation of his introductions of why his character is the best with the relatability of mental illness and laughing at your pain and dealing with all this craziness, I have to give round one to Ian, because right out the gate, he immediately went for the Mask's head and said, listen, you can watch any other movie and it can essentially be The Mask. So I have to give him that. That was a strong.
I call that the old guard take. I learned that one from you.
Good. See, yes. That was a dope take. Now, in the second round, though, for me, I was debating back and forth. I was really leaning towards Ian in the second round, but I thought about what Jeremy said. I have to give that one to Jeremy, because what he did was respond to what Ian initially said in the first round in a way where it made me think like The Mask is more of a memorable movie, because when I look at my nieces and nephews, when I look at people around me, somebody stopped me and making all these different quotes. Like The Mask right now is probably the most memorable, quotable movie that I can think of from a Jim Carrey movie, aside from his performance from Batman Forever.
Yeah.
So I have to say that because you came out with that, I had to give you that round, because it was a direct response to Ian, and you basically said that with this movie, it's more memorable and it stands the test of time for generations to generations to generations. Now, in the third round, this one was really hard for me. I honestly, it could go either way. So my decision for the third round, it's a simple tie. Like I can't decide.
I'll take
because they both were hitting each other with just serious things that I couldn't even fathom with. But I have to give it a tie because I like both of those rounds. Like they killed it in the third round. The fourth round, though, it comes down to...
I don't even want to hear this part of the fourth round.
Now, I let me just say this, because I know we went to the tape earlier. Jeremy, the only reason why I feel Jeremy won this round, because in the very beginning, he said Ian couldn't even get his character name right.
He's right. I feel like a public defender, bro.
That
what was your name again?
that in itself was like the uppercut.
Yeah, it was.
I was waiting for. And as we go back to
I swear if I would have got his name right, though. God dang. Like I said, I feel like a public defender. Like, I don't even know who I'm representing right now. But, yeah, he didn't do it.
Now, by the way, I will say, let me backtrack. I will say, Ian brought up some points in the last round about the other things that have happened in The Mask. The only reason why I didn't consider that is because that's not what we were talking about. I get what you were trying to do, though, but at the same time, it was just like, okay, we're talking about Jim Carrey, The Mask, not Son of the Mask, or the Mask of the TV show. But I get what you were trying to do. But that fourth round, though, I'm not going to lie. I was leaning towards Ian, but when Jeremy said what he said, I was like, oh, shit. Oh, shit. So I have to give that fourth round.
I'm going to have to put the name on the mic next time. And Hank? Yeah.
I mean, that was such an uppercut. And now, with all that being said, with all those rounds, you would say that they're tied, but I have to make the final decision. Now, let me just say both competitors were amazing in presenting their case. I have to say, from a factual and a more relatable standpoint, from both competitors, I have to give this one to Jeremy. Because when we were debating the best character, and he gave me every reason why the character The Mask is a great character, without really touching on the movie. Well, he touched on the movie, but he didn't use that as a plus to hype up the character in terms of bringing up the memorable moments. I will say, though, what Ian did with his character, me, myself, Irene, after this match, I'm definitely going to go watch it again.
Same.
Because there were so many things that I forgot about that movie. I was like, that is some funny shit. Like,
So
I have
funny.
to go and watch it. But Ian did a really good job as well, bringing up those things about mental health. I know for me and my family, we relate to that. Laughing at your pain, we relate to that. But I have to say, from a slight margin, I have to give the W to Jeremy. Jeremy did an amazing job debating the best character.
Let this be a lesson, everybody. Remember who you're debating. Fuck's sakes. I deserve that.
That was fantastic. I agree with what Alex said. Like, I was gonna say it before we started taping the second time around. Like, Me, Myself, and Irene is not my favorite Jim Carrey movie. My favorite Jim Carrey comedy.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. I really
Hands
think it's very
down.
slept on when it comes to his like filmography.
Yeah.
Hands down. Like if I had to go back and rewatch his filmography, that would be at the top of my list.
Yeah.
Because like I said, like I guarantee you, after this is over, I'm going to go buy that movie on Amazon.
I'm gonna watch it tonight too.
Because
Straight
it
up.
was hilarious.
I was hyping myself up.
I think the most memorable thing I loved about Ian's debate is that when he said that Jim Carrey got cheated on, he's going through mental issues, and he has to raise 3 black children that are not even his. That is amazing.
That's hilarious, right?
That is hilarious.
Yep.
So you guys did amazing. I'm so glad I had you
Thank
guys
you,
on the
man.
show. Jeremy takes this W. Jeremy will be back on the show next week facing a new competitor. And I won't give the topics just yet until we get all the logistics underway. But stay tuned for next week because Jeremy will continue on. Ian will still be on the show in future episodes as well. But I want to thank you guys so much for being on the show. So, Jeremy, our winner, where can we find you on social media?
What's the matter, honey? Little extra cheese on the taco? That's gross. Check me out on Movies Are Terrible on YouTube and Jeremy Be Terrible on Twitter and Instagram.
Awesome. And you know what's funny? Before I pass it to Ian, before we started recording this show, Ian had messed up the name in the beginning of the show. Then towards the end, he fucked it up again.
I
Oh
know.
my God.
I was doing so well, man. And I was like, is it Hank or Frank? I don't know.
Yo,
That
the
was
argument
so
was
funny.
perfect.
Oh my God. When he said that, I literally tried to stop from crying because it was so funny.
Could you imagine me like in a courtroom seriously and my client did not kill his wife? James is innocent. Your client's name is Steve. Oh shit.
Yeah, him too.
Yeah, him. That's what I said.
Yeah, Ian, where can we find you on social media?
Man, I'm gonna drop my black child off at Jeremy's house and have him raise. My name is Ian Elliott Carter, everybody, and check me out at youtube.com/thecontroversy, or find me on social media /controversy.
Man, what an amazing! I think this was probably the most comical match we have had in this series. Guys, if you want to support what we're doing, go to our individual channels, go subscribe, like our content. And if you want to see more of this, just keep watching, keep sharing, keep commenting. I met someone today in the midst of recording who's from Norway. Shout out to McLovin. Who watches the show. And I'm just like, yo, I'm so glad that you took the time to watch the show and you live in Norway. Like that's freaking
awesome.
amazing. So just watch the show, be a supporter. As we continue to progress, there'll be more great things to come, and potentially even fans could possibly participate in this show as well. So thank you guys so much for watching this video, and as always, you have a blessed day.